Hi, good morning. So what we're going to do today is review the digestive system. I have to say your work was exceptional yesterday. I think as we're reaching the home stretch, some of us are getting a hang of using the resources that I provide to help guide you through the questions about each body system. This one is the most interesting. It also can be the most disgusting as we're talking about what happens to our food from the point of ingestion, which is when we take the food in, to the point of waste removal when the solid waste leaves our body. So what we're going to do is go through the whole system, and this is something we would normally do in class, but I'm going to have you do at home. So I need you to grab a snack. Now a cracker works best. So I have a saltine cracker here. So if you have saltine crackers, cheese nips, Ritz crackers, little cheese snaps, grab one. If not, a chip will work fine. A piece of bread will also work extremely well. So pause the video, bring something back, and when you're ready, start it up again. So when we talk about digestive tract or digestive system, we're talking about the process of digestion. So what does that mean? Digestion is the process of breaking down food into something the body can use, nutrients. And our body takes those nutrients, it gets absorbed into our bloodstream as part of the digestion process, and then the circulatory system takes that nutrient-rich blood and delivers it to our body cells, and that's what we use as energy. That's why if you're not eating, then you become lethargic. What do I mean by that? Tired, slumping on your desk. You just lack the energy because your body's not getting the nutrients it needs, the fuel it needs to work properly. So it's important to eat properly, 3 meals a day, balanced meals. The more nutrients your body has, the more energy your body has as well. And you'll hear me say that to you in class sometimes when you're laying on your desk. Did you eat breakfast? Did you have lunch? Well, there you go. That's why, because you're not getting the energy that your body needs. The other thing our digestive system does, it's like a tongue twister, besides breaking down the food into nutrients, absorbing those nutrients into our bloodstream, and then allowing the circulatory system to move that nutrient-rich blood through our body, it also removes solid waste. So let's start with ingestion. Ingestion is when you take food in. Well, where are you taking food in? Your mouth. So the digestive system, digestion itself begins in the mouth. And there's a couple of structures in the mouth that help us with digestion. One is your tongue. Your tongue helps mix the saliva with your food. Ew, okay? Gross. But that helps moisten your food to make it easier to swallow. And then your tongue also pushes the food to the back of your throat to begin swallowing. So your tongue performs an important function in the digestive process. The other thing that helps with digestion is your teeth. Ooh, look how nice and white my teeth are. Your teeth help break down your food into smaller pieces or bits. That's called mechanical digestion, when you're physically breaking the food down. So when I put food in my mouth and I chew it, that's actually called mastication. So the process of chewing, using your jaw to chew, is mastication, and it breaks down the food mechanically into smaller bits because we don't want to swallow things whole because it will get stuck and then we choke. The saliva in your mouth are produced by glands in the back of your tongue and the back of your mouth called salivary glands. Actually, it's an involuntary response that happens when food is put in front of you, that your mouth begins to water. That's actually, so when they say you're salivating or your mouth's watering, it's your body's way of getting ready for the food. Because the saliva does 2 things. It helps chemically break down your food, and it also helps moisten the food to make it easier to swallow. So ingestion all begins in your mouth. The food goes in, that's the point of ingestion. That's the beginning of your digestive tract. Your teeth mechanically break down the food by chewing, known as mastication. Your saliva that's produced in the back of your tongue and the back of your throat helps moisten the food to make it easier to swallow and also chemically breaks it down. And then your tongue takes that food and pushes it to the back of your throat, pushing it down your throat or your pharynx. Now, your chewed up food or your masticated food, that's more scientific, is called a bolus, B-O-L-U-S. And some of you mentioned that yesterday in your assignment, chewed up food known as bolus. So what we're going to do is we're going to show the two types of digestion that happen in your mouth, mechanical or chemical, and we're going to take the cracker or whatever food you chose, masticate it, chew, 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 and turn it into bolus, which is going to be your masticated or chewed up food. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to mechanically digest this with your teeth, meaning I'm just going to chew it, right into it, chew it like I normally would. My teeth, I mechanically, oops, and I just dropped food everywhere because I'm a slob, mechanically broke it down into smaller pieces. See, I took a smaller chunk. You should be doing this with your food. Love saltines. Mechanically broken down by taking bites. Okay, now, here's the fun part, which is always fun to watch people do in class. Now you're going to chew it, but instead of chewing it and swallowing it like normal, you're going to leave it in your mouth as long as you can stand it. So you're going to chew, 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 and watch what happens to the food in your mouth or the bolus. So I'm going to leave it in my mouth, and I'm even going to show you, which is disgusting, but I'm going to show you anyway. Don't chew, 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 don't swallow. Chew, 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 don't swallow. Don't swallow. Gross, right? That's my bolus. You'll notice by leaving it in there, it becomes extremely soft, mushy. Some of you are probably like, I don't like the feel of this. And I didn't need to see the bolus in your mouth when you opened your mouth. Disgusting, right? But that's the chemical digestion, because your saliva is chemically breaking down that food, which makes it soft and mushy, but makes it easier to swallow and go down your throat. So kind of interesting. So think of that, all is happening in your mouth. We haven't gone anywhere else yet in the digestive tract, just in your mouth, and all that's happening in there. When the tongue does push it to the back of your mouth and you begin to swallow, it goes down your pharynx, which is your throat. We've heard about the pharynx before when we talked about the respiratory system. So the pharynx is a passageway for two things: for air when I'm breathing, inhaling, and for food. Okay, that's going to go down your throat as well. Now, here's where it differs. From your throat, it's going to go to your esophagus. And an esophagus is a tube of muscle that kind of runs on the side of your throat and connects down into your stomach. This is where we want food to go. The place we don't want food to go is your trachea or your windpipe, which we talked about in the respiratory system. Sometimes that happens, and that's when you choke. That's when they say food went down the wrong hole or wrong pipe. It went in the trachea instead of in the esophagus. So how come it doesn't always go down the wrong hole? There's a flap of skin, and you saw it if you saw the lung dissection video. A flap of skin that goes over the trachea when you're swallowing to cover it up. It's called the epiglottis. So it actually almost acts like a gate. Boop! So as the food goes down your throat, it closes or covers the trachea so food can go down the esophagus. Every now and then you eat too quickly, you shove too much food in your mouth. That epiglottis doesn't fully close and food can go down the wrong pipe, which is why you choke. Sometimes you can get it up on your own. Sometimes you need the Heimlich maneuver to force air up the trachea to pop it out. But you want food to go down your esophagus, which is that long tube that runs on the side of your throat and goes into your stomach. Now, food just doesn't slide down there. So yesterday you researched what peristalsis was, and there was a little animation that I'm also going to include again on today's video so you can watch it. So peristalsis is an involuntary muscle contraction. Remember what involuntary means. We don't have to think about it. That happens in your esophagus, and basically the muscles relax and contract to push that food down. So kind of interesting that that's what's happening inside your esophagus. We don't think about it. It happens naturally to push the food down, and that's what peristalsis is. Once it reaches your stomach, and your stomach is just a big muscular sac. Once it reaches your stomach, two types of digestion happen again, mechanical and chemical. Your stomach is a muscle. So your stomach muscles also relax and contract and churn the food. It kind of like beats up the food. And there was an animation of that yesterday too. It beats up the food and mechanically breaks it down. But your stomach also releases digestive juices, digestive acids known as enzymes that chemically break down your food. So in your stomachs is where a lot of the digestion is happening, the breaking down of food both mechanically and chemically. From there, it goes into the small intestine. And your small intestine, which is kind of interesting that they call it small, because it's 20 feet long. So it takes a while for the food to move through the small intestine, hours for it to move through the small intestine. And what happens here is super important. Digestion will continue to happen here, mostly chemically. So those enzymes and those digestive juices are going to continue to break down the food more. But this is where absorption takes place. This is where the nutrients from the food get put into your bloodstream. That's super important. And there's a structure in the small intestine, which wasn't mentioned yesterday, called the villi, that actually put it into your bloodstream. Now that's interesting, because alveoli put oxygen into your bloodstream. Villi put nutrients into your bloodstream. And then the circulatory system takes over. So there's that interaction between the two. From your small intestine, it goes to your large intestine, which interestingly enough is smaller than your small intestine. It's 5 feet long, but it's wider. And the large intestine is also sometimes called your colon. So if you hear people talk about their colon, they're talking about their large intestine. The large intestine is where the food is prepared for waste removal. It kind of takes the food that can't be absorbed into the bloodstream. So whatever didn't get absorbed into the bloodstream as nutrients gets moved into the colon or large intestine. Water also gets absorbed in this area of the digestive system or digestive tract, because your digestive tract describes from your mouth esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and the next two pieces we're going to talk about in a minute. So large intestine takes all the food where the nutrients couldn't be absorbed into the bloodstream, also absorbs water, and prepares food for waste removal. Now here come the part where in class usually get the giggles, right? At the end of your colon or at the end of your large intestine is your rectum. Your rectum is where the solid waste, now it's compacted, okay? Your solid waste, whatever didn't turn into nutrients and get absorbed into the bloodstream, your solid waste from the colon or the large intestine gets stored in the rectum. Eventually, what will happen is you will get what they call an urge to go to the bathroom. You know what I'm talking about, where you feel like you have to poop, right? And when you go to the bathroom, the opening where the solid waste is removed or released from is called your anus. So your rectum stores the solid waste, you get that urge to go to the bathroom, and then a muscle called the sphincter muscle allows you to release that waste through the opening known as the anus. Your urine does not come out your anus. It's a different opening. So your anus is for your solid waste, your poop, and your urethra is for your urine. That's part of a different body system called the excretory system, but that's where you urinate from. So you don't release pee and poop from the same opening. They're two different openings, which I think you know that, but in case you didn't, we're clearing it up. So again, the whole digestive tract begins with ingestion, when you put something into your mouth, and then it goes from your mouth, your tongue pushes it back to your throat or your pharynx, down your esophagus, into your stomach, to your small intestine where it spends the most time, into your large intestine, stored in your rectum, released through your anus. Now, what's important to note is this cracker that I eat now, if I poop later on tonight, gross, I know you don't want to think about your teacher pooping, but if I poop later on tonight, this cracker's not what's coming out because it hasn't gone through the whole digestive tract. Tomorrow's poop, whatever's going to get absorbed as nutrients from this cracker, will be released. So keep that in mind as well. Some people say, oh, I'm going to eat beans. I'm going to poop right away. Doesn't go through your digestive tract that quickly. Unless if you have a digestive disorder, that would be different, like lactose intolerance, Crohn's disease. Those types of things affect your digestive tract, and irritable bowel syndrome, and would affect the frequency of your waste removals. So an interesting topic. After you finish watching this video, what I'm going to have you do is a few things. I'm going to put the peristalsis animation back up there so you can once again see those muscle relaxations and contractions that move the food from your esophagus into your stomach. I'm also going to put the video at the end of the slideshow from yesterday back up there. Some of you commented it was gross, but it goes through the whole digestive tract, and I know some of you probably skipped it and just answered the questions and didn't go to the video. So I want to make sure you review the whole digestive process again. And then I'm also going to put a Quizlet link up, which will go over many of the structures. That link is going to then be put again tomorrow in tomorrow's assignment, because you'll have a little matching assignment where you'll match the structure with the function. So pretty interesting to think what happens to our food. It's not just chew it, swallow it, go to the bathroom, right? There's a whole process that happens. So let's just go through it one last time as I eat my last cracker. I ingest it by putting it in my mouth. My teeth mechanically break it down by mastication or chewing. My saliva chemically breaks it down and moistens it to make it easier to swallow. And my tongue will push it to my throat. So let's start with that. Chewing, mastication, bolus, chewed food. Mechanical, chew, chew, chew. Chemical as it softens and moistens. And my throat, my tongue, pushing it back down my throat as I swallow. From my throat, goes to my esophagus. Muscle relaxations and contractions in the esophagus are moving it down into my stomach, where it's going to get mechanically broken down because the muscles are going to relax and contract and churn and beat up that food, breaking it down. Digestive juices are going to shoot out from my stomach as well, which are going to chemically break it down. Then it moves into my small intestine, which isn't small at all. It's 20 feet long. And there the chemical digestion continues, but it's also where nutrients get taken from the food and absorbed into the bloodstream, super important. Whatever doesn't get absorbed now moves into the large intestine or the colon. Water gets absorbed from there. Food in the large intestine begins to get compacted and prepared for waste removal. It then moves to the end of the large intestine, which is the rectum, which will store and compact that food more. Eventually, you'll get the urge to go to the bathroom. And then when that solid waste is released, it is released through the opening at the end of your rectum, which is known as your anus. So that's the whole process of digestion, from ingestion to waste removal. Pretty interesting, pretty gross, but it's your body. Have a great day.